Recently, the OIC has been news for the invitation extended to the Foreign Minister, Sushma Swaraj, amidst the growing tensions between India and Pakistan over Pulwama attack. So today at Indian Folk, we shall throw some light on OIC. What led to the OIC? The Organization of Islamic Cooperation (OIC) was established as the Organization of Islamic Conference upon a decision of the historical summit which took place in Rabat, Kingdom of Morocco on 12th of Rajab 1389 Hijrah, following the criminal arson of the Al-Aqsa Mosque in Jerusalem. The meeting was the first unified expression of the Muslim Ummah community. It took an organized shape in March 1970, setting up a secretariat in Jeddah and appointing a Secretary General as its head. 2 years later, a charter was adopted demonstrating that the OIC's purpose was to strengthen solidarity and cooperation among Islamic states in all fields. The charter laid down the objectives and principles of the organization and its fundamental purposes to strengthen the solidarity and cooperation among the member of states. Over the last 45 years, the membership has grown from its founding members of 30 to 57 states. Now, the charter was amended to keep in pace with the developments that have unraveled across the world. The organization has a singular honor to galvanize the Ummah into a unified body and claims to have actively represented the Muslims by espousing all causes close to the hearts of over 1.5 billion Muslims of the world. The OIC is the second largest intergovernmental organization after the United States, with a membership of 57 states spread over 4 continents. The organization is the collective voice of all the Muslim world. It endeavors to safeguard and protect the interests of the Muslim world in the spirit of promoting international peace and harmony among the people of the world. Now, why was the OIC created? On the morning of August 21, 1969, a fire engulfed the southeastern wing of the Holy Al-Aqsa Mosque in Jerusalem. The Al-Aqsa is known to Muslims all over the world as Haram al-Sharif. The fire destroyed a 1,000-year-old precious and historic pulpit that was presented by Saladin, the first Sultan of Egypt and Syria. As a natural reaction, heated demonstrations took place in the Arab parts of Jerusalem to condemn this act. All access points to the mosque were blocked. Hundreds of Israeli police officers were deputed to curb the agitators, and a curfew was imposed in East Jerusalem the same evening. Now, the initial assumptions started that an electrical fault was the cause of the fire, but soon rumors started that spreading about an Israeli hand in the fire. At the same time the fire was being extinguished, there were also claims that the Israeli fire extinguishers threw gasoline on the fire instead of water. Now, Dennis Michael Rohan, an Australian tourist, was held responsible for the arson and was arrested on August 23. Rohan turned out to be a Protestant follower of the Church of God. Rohan believed that the process of the second coming of the Messiah will speed up with the burning of the mosque. It was the burning of this mosque that led King Faisal of Saudi Arabia to call for the first ever meeting of Islamic nations, which was convened in September 1969 in Rabat, Morocco. Where are the challenges and criticisms and controversies? In 2011, the Organization of Islamic Conference changed its name to the Organization of Islamic Cooperation (OIC), but remained as ineffective as it was earlier. Given its lack of performance, nobody took it seriously because of the Saudi leadership. Historically, the greatest challenge that the OIC is facing is its inability to establish a consensus among its members. The OIC's existence is based on the idea that there is commonality among the members, which is stronger than any difference, that is Islam. However, there are numerous other important differences among the member states, from language and culture to political history and geographical location. Depending on a member state's location, for instance, regional issues like Kashmir, Palestine, or joining the European Union have greater importance. The OIC has failed to intervene on behalf of its affected members. Now, the breakup of Pakistan after being defeated by India in the 1971 war, the invasion of Lebanon by Israel in 1982, the Iran-Iraq war, the Soviet intervention in Afghanistan, and the US occupation of Iraq have dealt a mortal blow to the unity, dignity, and sovereignty of the Muslim world. It adopted the Convention on Combating International Terrorism in 1999, but defining terrorism Muslim has been a struggle for the conference. To be clear, the OIC has set up a number of institutions to help in capacity building, knowledge networking in areas of knowledge-driven economy, trade and investments, ICT, quality and productivity, sustainable development, governance and poverty alleviation, but today there have been no achievements to their credit. Unless the OIC members are willing to face the present challenges boldly and demonstrate political will to assert their role in the world affairs, the OIC will continue to fail its members. The current crisis between the West and the world of Islam is yet another opportunity for the OIC to prove its relevance by playing a constructive role by building bridges through an informed dialogue between Islam and other faiths. How has India's relationship with the OIC been? India has pushed against the OIC for referring to disputed areas of Kashmir as occupied by India. Although only 13.4% of India's population is Muslim, it has pushed for the OIC to make an exception to accept India as a member, arguing that about 11% of the Muslims live in India. But Pakistan still opposes India's entry into the OIC. The reason for Pakistan's refusal for India to enter the Organization of Islamic Cooperation is due to the alleged human rights issues and problems faced by the Kashmiri people. On Kashmir, the Muslim world has always supported Pakistan rather than India. The OIC's interaction with India has a history. King Faisal of Saudi Arabia was personally instrumental in having India invited to the conference. He accepted the argument that the disarray of the third holiest place in Islam was a matter of concern to all Muslims, not merely to Muslim states, and that India, with its very large Muslim population, was entitled to be concerned. However, since the gathering was an intergovernmental one, only the government of India could be invited. While General Yahya Khan of Pakistan did agree, he showed his extreme displeasure at the induction of India's Muslim representative Faruquddin Ali Ahmad. He took a seat during the event, which caused major controversy. Pakistan rejected this development and demanded the expulsion of India from the summit. It resulted in the forcible exclusion of Indian delegation from the subsequent sessions of the conference. No invitations were extended to India in subsequent years as a result of the domestic political backlash of the Rabat incident. How should India ideally approach the OIC? If the debate is to be reopened, it needs to go back to the beginning. If India was an original invitee, the question of offering it an observer status should not arise. Instead, it should be a simple matter of restoring the founder membership that was taken away from India by a sleight of hand that did not credit to those who did it or assisted it in any manner. In fact, the offer and the acceptance of an alternative status would revalidate what was done in 1969. For this reason, it should be rejected. The debate is also about recognizing India's uniqueness. It is not a part of the Muslim world, but it is not away from it. Not a Muslim majority state in statistical terms, yet host to the second largest community of Muslims in the world, just behind Indonesia. Thus, Indian experience of a plural society, secular polity, and democratic state structure is, in fact, relevant to all societies that are not homogeneous. It offers an alternative to the multicultural model that is now under stress in many Western societies. The OIC accounts for about 29% of the total membership of the UN, 47% of the African Union, and 100% of the membership of the Arab League, the Gulf Cooperation Council, and the Economic Cooperation Organization. Nearer India, 3 of the 7 members of the South Asian Association of Regional Cooperation are in the OIC, and so are 3 ASEAN states, with 2 others attending meeting as guests. So India cannot ignore OIC. Now, what are the recent developments? With the OIC attempting to regain relevance, perhaps the OIC cannot ignore India either. The bridge can only be built by careful diplomacy with support from Pakistan. The Pak delegation, led by its officials instead of the foreign minister, tried to argue against the invite to India as a guest of honor and made attempts to defame India during the sessions, according to people privy to the deliberations. However, the efforts did not work. while the OIC adopted separate resolutions on the Kashmir issue, terming it as the core dispute between India and Pakistan and the recent airstrikes. The final Abu Dhabi declaration did not even have a passing reference to the matter. The UAE and Saudi Arabia had a very important role to play in ensuring India was not embarrassed at the meeting, even as Pakistan tried to reason with the foreign ministers of other OIC member states. Pakistan's delegation, led by Raja Ali Ijaz, its ambassador to Saudi Arabia, staged a protest during the second session of the meeting, objecting to the OIC inviting External Affairs Minister Sushma Swaraj as the guest of honor. However, the UAE ensured that India attended the meet despite Islamabad's objections. The OIC and the UAE did not give in to the demands to include Kashmir in the final draft, despite relentless efforts by the Pakistan delegation. If you liked the video, do share it with your friends and subscribe to our channel. Thank you.